What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Lineup HQ NBA Showdown show. We're going to walk you through a couple lineups here for Friday, Game 4, NBA Finals. Going to knock it out here, man. And joined by John Breslin today, SquirrelPatrol. He's going to impart some wisdom here on these. Been pretty spot on so far with the with some of the picks. Last game, you went out and said you liked Jeff Green. Jeff Green got the minutes. I mean, it's all about the opportunity and it's just the slightest little thing. Doesn't seem like much in the box score, but 17 minutes, 17 minutes is big time for a guy of that salary when you're dealing with like such a small, minute little edge in showdowns. The slightest thing could flip you from winning 50 to winning 50K, literally. So we'll be pretty good on this, man. So were there any surprises in game 3? I'll go out and say I'm surprised Kevin Love didn't get more run. I mean, it felt like it worked in game 2 and they went away from it in game 3. Anything else surprise you from game 3?
Not any huge surprises. I think we had a good amount of hits last show because we were talking about MPJ is getting less minutes. We even hit on Udonis Haslem getting in there for the garbage time minute. Even got a shot up. Probably the biggest surprise. I couldn't figure out why Reggie Jackson was in there. But I got something to keep in mind for that $1,000 guy. The $1,000 wild card you sometimes need on DraftKings. I do think there were some surprises in the DFS contest. So, it was noteworthy to me just looking back at game 3. Denver had 2 30-point triple doubles, one from Jokic and one from Jamal Murray. Neither one of those guys was the captain for the winning lineup on DraftKings. The captain for the winning lineup was Christian Brown. And then the lineup after that, just a fraction of a point behind, the captain was Bam Adebayo. You actually had to go through, there were some then Jamal Murray lineups, more Christian Brown lineups, more Bam lineups, a Max Strus lineup, Aaron Gordon lineups, some more Jamal Murray lineups, more Bam lineups, and then you got a Jokic lineup. He put up 80 DraftKings points, and he still, there was that many lineups ahead of him. He was 10 points off the optimal lineup on DraftKings, and they raised his price. So that's something to keep in mind as we get into the DraftKings build.
We're going to get into it. We're going to do it now, and I'm right there with you. I've noticed a very similar pattern here. I think it's time to go away from the Jokic captain and try to get somebody cheaper in there because what I think the optimal way to go here is to Jokic is going to score big points, so you can put him in the utility. Somebody else in the game, whether it be Butler or Bam or Jamal Murray, who put up a monster game again. Somebody's going to you're going to need that guy also. And when you put Jokic in captain, you can't get to that guy. So we need to go cheap at captain. That'd be my preference here. Do you have anybody that's standing out for you? I mean, like you just said, Christian Braun got, let's see, we got the reduced Michael Porter minutes. He got 19 minutes, slightly over 19 minutes last game. I don't think it's a fluke. He's out there. He's getting run in actual playing time, not just garbage time. So who's your cheaper option here today that you think we could turn to and maybe steal a victory?
So I'm going to go a little bit off the board, but, with that thought process, you need somebody cheaper. With all the guys like Jokic is playing 40-plus minutes, all these guys are playing big minutes. I think there's actually an argument you could go back to MPJ, say maybe he's priced down and he's going to do a little bit better, and for the ownership, he's a play. Actually, the guy that I kind of like is Kyle Lowry. I think down to 4,600. He's seeing the 26 minutes, mid-20s minutes. I think but almost 30 minutes last game. He's priced down to 4,600. Why not? Miami is playing at home. I expect them to do pretty well. I don't know if they're going to pull the game out. That remains to be seen. We've had the road team win the last 2 games in this series, but in terms of an affordable captain, it lets us put in the higher priced guys we know we're going to put up raw points. Maybe try some Kyle Lowry.
Man, I'm 100% on board with that because I want a Miami guy in the captain anyway. I do think this is do or die for them. Gabe Vincent is their better option. He saw 32 minutes last game. You only see the 3 personal fouls in the box score, but getting the second personal foul in the second quarter sent him to the bench. If that's the way Spoelstra is going to play it, that's always an option to help you out with your Kyle Lowry minutes right there. Is a second personal foul early gets Kyle Lowry in that game for some more minutes. I like it a lot. So saves us some money. Now we go with the low hanging fruit. His Jokic has 80 DraftKings points and he's not slowing down, so he's got to be in a utility spot, right?
I think so. I mean, there is a concern. We talked about last game, fading Jokic entirely. I think that's a tough road, but I mean, he's put up 80 points and they raised his price, as they should have. But I mean, it is a decision point. I won't be playing 100% Jokic this game because, what if he puts up 60? Yeah, at 15,600, I don't think he's automatic. But yeah, I do think. I mean, I still think he'll be in the majority of my lineups. So I'll probably have a lot less of him at captain though than the field. But yeah, let's put him in the utility spot.
Yeah, let's ruffle some feathers here. What do we got next here? We've got a little salary saver and captain Jokic. Who's gonna be that guy now? That it was Jamal Murray in Game 3, the monster game, 66 points. Bam's been super consistent this whole series. Jimmy, I'm a little worried about Jimmy Butler. There's a lot of every time he's coming down, there's a lot of grimacing and getting up off the bench. You see him making faces. I don't think he's nearly 100% healthy or even close to it. So I'm worried about Jimmy. What guy are we going to plug in here? Who's going to be that big third option here to rack up some big points?
I think we got to go Bam. I don't think he's going to come at cheap ownership, but it seems like it's been his series so far. I think we talked about it in the Game 1 show. We talked about it in the Game 2 show. I mean, looking at it, his points, rebounds, assists, prop, it's just risen every game this series. I think it started off 28, 29 and a half or something. I think now it's up to 32 and a half. And that's a reflection of the fact that he's just doing well. I mean, the Boston series was really tough for him, but this is a much better series. I agree. Jimmy Butler, I mean, he's, we know he's going to give it his all, but it's been a long playoffs for that team. So, and he's been carrying them. So, yeah, let's go with some Bam.
All right, we got Bam in there. And now we're getting down to needing to conserve a little salary. We got $6,000 left per spot. What's our next? We got some options here. We got plenty of options here. We haven't seen a very good series from Caleb Martin. He's kind of fallen off. KCP's kind of sitting there. Kevin Love's still down there. If we think they're going to go back to that route where Kevin Love gets heavier minutes, I mean, Spoelstra is going to do something different in this game just to kind of change it and break things up. So I don't know. There's a lot of options, man. There's just a ton of different paths we could go here. What's your next move?
One thought I have, and you mentioned it already, I like going with Jeff Green. He's now cheaper than Christian Braun. I think, Brown's had a great series and he's put up some big points, but I think he's, the 23 and 17 DraftKings points in those last 2 games as the cheapest rotation player available. I think people are going to note that. They're going to be aware of it. But I think it's basically a toss-up between Jeff Green and Christian Braun, and I don't see any reason why Brown. I'm presuming he's going to get a higher ownership at a more expensive price tag than Jeff Green. It's basically a toss-up. So I'd say for the ownership maybe and the savings, maybe we put in Jeff Green and then see how much salary we've got left over.
About 8,100. For 2 spots, we'll fill one more spot. We've got 2 Miami, 2 Denver in there. And we haven't really – we could – let's say we plugged in Jamal Murray at 11.6. We'd still have over a little bit less than $5,000 for that last spot. So we can do just about anything in this spot we want. We've got the big Jokic game, maybe a really steady Bam game. So we could go and shoot for the ceiling with a star player like a Murray or a Butler if you wanted to, go that route if you think he's going to bounce back tonight. Or you can go with more of a mid-range build here where you just get a couple of good players in there. You kind of hit on Michael Porter Jr. If they want to turn to MPJ, he's going to come at much lower ownership than you've seen him all series, but that's a risky move. I don't know. What's your preferred path here with this last spot that we're going to fill out?
I think there's a good amount of options. Yeah, we can go whatever direction we want. Actually, I don't mind Caleb Martin. I think he came in and played a little bit more minutes, I think, than he had the game before, and I think he's going to be forgotten about with him, no longer being the starting lineup. I mean, think about what he did in the Boston series. He looked good out there. Had some good plays, so I think Caleb Martin is an option. It wouldn't shock me if like Kevin Love got a little bit fewer minutes than he has, even if he's in the starting lineup.
Yeah. So I agree that Caleb Martin, I don't want to use the word due. People don't like due factor, but he's due for a good game here. And he went up over 31 minutes last game. So that leaves us, if we're starting with Kyle Lowry and then we're going Jokic and Bam and a couple of salary plays here, you're not going to be, there's going to be duplication there. So you're not going to get around that. Now we can kind of drop some more people off we could leave them a little bit farther behind with duplications if we're leaving a lot of money on the salary right here. 10-1 left on the table. We're not going to fill it out, but just looking at the most expensive player right now to plug in there is not the path I would take. I'd probably look to go and see what do we got here? We played Jeff Green, so we're kind of saying Michael Porter Jr. is not in there. Maybe you go with a Bruce Brown there and leave $5,000 on the table. If you just really want to be different and not duplicate, the more money you're leaving on the table, the less duplications you'll get in that big contest. So that's just my thought, 2 cents on that. But we're not going to fill it out. We'll move on. I like the way that looks. It all hinges on Kyle Lowry, man, coming in and doing something. And you know what? I think there's a possibility that happens. Now, we go to FanDuel, totally different format. Jokic, MVP, like he's even with that monster Jamal Murray triple-double last game, Jokic was still almost 15 points better than him. Like you can't, this guy is inevitable. You can't get around Jokic being in the MVP spot, right? Not in this format.
Yeah, I mean, there's no salary multiplier, and they did not raise his price. I mean, he's already priced up at 18,500. He's like 4,000 more than the next highest player. So yeah, I think you got to plug Jokic in the MVP spot, and you can still get different. There were not that many ties, I think, for the last FanDuel single game contest in Game 3, and the winner still had Jokic. So yeah, I think we can plug him in there.
So we got that. After that spot's when you kind of start to maybe see if you can be a little bit different, because it's going to be, you don't want to get duplicated too much here. But the star player, I mean, in everybody's head, it should be Jamal Murray. I don't know if you want to go that route and go way different in the other spots, or if you want to start to get different now. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I might pass on Jamal Murray, and I might try putting in Bam. Because I think it's like feasible, and I think it'll give us a little bit more salary. I think 1,000 price difference there. The game's still in Miami. I don't know if Denver is going to be able to put up the numbers they put up last game, right? With two 30-point triple doubles. Like that doesn't happen a lot. And so maybe with this lineup, we're saying, we have to play Jokic in the MVP spot, basically. Like maybe Jokic just goes berserk and he's getting like a huge amount of the points from Denver, and Jamal Murray is taking a little bit of a step back. And then, that opens up an opportunity for Bam to be in the star position there.
I like it. Because I think that Miami's going to make a decision tonight that Jamal Murray cannot be the guy. They just got to do whatever they can to take the ball out of his hands. And that's going to mean letting Jokic run wild, but that's okay. That's what they did in Game 2, and they won that game. So I think Miami takes the ball out of Jamal's hands. I don't mind doing that. Now let's get a little different here. Now we get a little different. We got $9,000 left for 3 spots. How do we get different? There's a lot of paths here. What do you think about your third leading scorer in this game being off the radar? Somebody like an Aaron Gordon or something like that.
I think Aaron Gordon works. I don't mind Michael Porter.
I was going to say that too. I don't know if it was a little bit much for the pro spot, but
he's 1,000 less. I mean, we're gonna have to save, I think, at all 3 remaining spots. and I don't think Porter's going to be nearly as popular on a play as he was the first 2 games. But I mean, I expect him to stay in the starting lineup, and then you just don't know what happens, right? So, and when he was expensive and highly owned, I didn't like him. But now he's probably going to be, now he is cheaper and potentially lower owned. Like if that first quarter goes well for him, then he could be back up to playing kind of his more regular minutes. Like I don't think he's going to be in the 40s like the rest of the Denver starters, but I mean he could go back to 30s minutes easily. So yeah, I don't mind MPJ in that spot, and that leaves us enough salary that we're not like really scraping the bottom of the barrel for the bench guys.
No, we've got options. If you're asking me to make a sports wager on this thing on Michael Porter Jr. props, I'm going under on those because I still think he hovers around that lower range. But we're talking about DFS and salary and ownership factor in, and I just don't think he'll be very popular. I'm with you on that one. And man, if he comes out in that first rotation and he's hitting his 3-point shots, he could have Jokic, Murray, Bam might be the only guys who outscore him in this whole game. And so I'm down with that. So that we got about $9,000 left for 2 spots. Like you said, lots of options. A lot of guys we haven't even hit on yet. Where do we go from here? Are we going to go down into the 2 medium, like a 9K and an 8.5? Yeah, we could go Bruce Brown, Kyle Lowry combination, something like that. You could go a little bit more expensive and a little bit cheaper, like a Gabe Vincent, and then a little bit cheaper guy right there. We haven't talked about Max Strus very much. If he's hitting his 3-point shots, he could put up a monster game. What's our path right here in these last 2 spots? What's your favorite path?
One guy I just want to mention, we haven't mentioned him, but like Duncan Robinson, they let him in that 4th quarter and just let him shoot 3-pointers every possession because they were down. I forget how much they were down in the final couple of minutes. I think maybe 10 points, but he hit a couple of 3-pointers. So he's not ideal for the FanDuel scoring, but his guy I just wanted to mention. I mean, he's down there at 7,000. That would leave us 11,000. Maybe not the best pricing. Maybe like Kyle Lowry or Caleb Martin, from the DraftKings portion. I think they would fit in this lineup pretty well.
All right, let's do that route then. You want to go Gabe Vincent?
Sure, do Gabe Vincent.
We haven't really hit on him, man. He got into foul trouble last game, like I said. Otherwise, he's going to play 38 minutes and he's going to take a lot of 3. That's what Miami's weird like that. When they hit their 3-point shots, they're beating everybody. They will beat everybody. They'll beat Denver if they hit that. If they have those games where they hit, but when they're not hitting them, they can't even average 100 points in a series. So. And now a lot of that comes back to Gabe Vincent. He's a good 3-point shooter, and we'll see if he gets in the group tonight. 7,500 at 1 spot. We'll throw that in there. That could be just about anything. We could go Christian Braun, Jeff Green, like you said, Duncan Robinson. I don't know. Pick one, right? It doesn't at this point. Maybe if you went Jeff Green, well, we're playing Michael Porter Jr., so we don't want to do that. We still want our lineup to correlate a little bit. What do you think?
Duncan. It's actually ended up fitting the Duncan Robinson lineup pretty well.
Yeah. Good one. And I think, we're leaving 500 on the table, but Michael Porter Jr. in the pro spot, man, you won't have very many lineups where he ends up in the star, the MVP, or the pro. So that'll make us a little different right there. So I'm down with ending it right there. We're in game 4. We're splitting hairs on a lot of this stuff because we've seen this 3 times now, and we know kind of how the gist of it plays out with Jokic and Murray and Bam being all these high scores. Hopefully for game 5, we get Tyler Hero back and it throws like a little monkey wrench in everything, salaries and minutes, and we can figure some more things out because getting a little bit redundant, but we're here. This is where we're at. What's your prediction on tonight? Who wins this game tonight?
I'm going to go a little bit different. I think Miami might take this one. That sets up a really interesting series heading back to Denver. I think, just in the interest of a really good series, I kind of hope Miami takes it. But they're playing at home. Denver looked outstanding last game. But remember, we're just 1 game removed from Denver dropping it on their own home court. I think Miami can take this one.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was looking today, and you see that in the last 7 games, Miami has lost 5 of the last 7. They've lost the last 3 games at home. They might be running on fumes right now. Jimmy Butler might be banged up. They might be hurt. It doesn't bode well, but their 2 wins did come in Denver, huge, and Game 7 in Boston. So there's still something there. So I'm going Miami too, and hope they extend the series, and then we get a best out of 3, and that would be pretty awesome stuff. So guys, we appreciate you tuning in. I'm sure we'll be back with more content for Game 5. Good luck in all those GPPs. Until then, that was Squirrel Patrol's Chop, and we are out of here.